You've been sleeping on your shine, babe, but I came to tell you it's time to wake up and rise like the tidal force you are. The wave doesn't ask permission to crash. The glow doesn't whisper when it was born to blind. You are not here to dim your brilliance for anyone's comfort. You're not meant to blend in when you were made to ripple through this world like a force of nature. And baby, your wave, it's just getting started. There's a power inside you that doesn't need validation, likes, or applause. You walk in the room and energy shifts, not because you speak the loudest, but because your presence commands it. That's not ego, that's alignment, that's frequency. You are the vibe, and it's about time you stop doubting your own current. You are the wave, not a follower of trends. This truth unlocks your deepest confidence and separates you from the noise of the world. Too often, people spend their energy trying to fit into molds that were never shaped for them, chasing trends, chasing applause, chasing the next validation hit like it holds the secret to self-worth. But that's not you. You are not a chaser, you're a creator. You don't bend to the current. You are the current. You set the motion. You are the force that others feel before they even understand what it is. The wave doesn't move to please, it moves with purpose, with power, with presence. And that's the energy you bring into every space when you remember who you are. When you stop seeking permission to rise, you realize you never needed it. There's freedom in knowing your glow doesn't rely on someone else's spotlight. It's not about fitting in, it's about breaking out. It's about stepping into every room and owning your vibe so fully that others start questioning their own limitations. Trends come and go, but a wave like you leaves impact. Trends are copies, watered-down versions of original energy, but a wave crashes through all of that with raw, unfiltered truth. You're not trying to be liked. You're here to be felt. That's a whole different kind of power. Being the wave means you listen to your inner frequency, not the outside noise. You don't need to do what everyone else is doing just to feel valuable. You don't need to dress a certain way, speak a certain way, act like anyone but you. Because your originality is your magic. The moment you stop shrinking to fit into a box, you start expanding into your fullest potential. And that expansion, that's the glow, that's the wave, that's the reason others will feel drawn to you. Not because you follow what's in, but because you are what's real. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, you rise higher. Every time you choose to follow your own instincts instead of the crowd, you create your own path. You weren't made to replicate, you were made to ripple, you were made to shift energy just by being you. That doesn't require explanation, it requires courage. Courage to show up as the whole version of yourself even when it's misunderstood. Courage to trust your instincts even when they lead you away from the crowd. Courage to walk alone, glow alone, wave alone until others recognize the power of what you've become. So don't look around for what's trending. Look within for what's timeless. That's you. You're not temporary. You're not a moment. You're a movement. The glow wave isn't about standing out just to be seen. It's about standing in your truth so fiercely that you become the reason others stop dimming their own light. You are the wave, the origin, the vibe, the mentor, and the world better catch up. Your glow is rooted in resilience. It's not surface level shine. It's depth. It's survival. It's transformation. The light you carry didn't come easy. It was forged through every storm you walked through, every breakdown that didn't break you, and every time you showed up when it would have been easier to disappear. That glow is earned. It's not a filter or a trend. It's your battle scars turned into brilliance. You've been through pain that tried to silence you, but instead of crumbling, you evolved. You learned how to glow through the fire, and now you carry a light that's unshakable because it's rooted in truth. Resilience doesn't mean you never felt broken. It means you picked yourself up even when your soul was heavy. It means you chose to breathe, to heal, to walk forward step by step when the world felt like it was closing in. That's the kind of strength that builds real glow. Not just the glow that looks good, but the kind that feels powerful. It's a light that radiates from the inside out, not because everything is perfect, but because you've made peace with your imperfection, you've met yourself in the dark and you didn't run. That's where your radiance was born. This kind of glow doesn't fade when the lights go off or when no one's watching. It stays because it's woven into who you are now. You've cried and stood up anyway. You've doubted yourself and chose to rise. And that choice, that daily decision to keep showing up as your best self even when it's hard, that's what resilience looks like. You've turned your vulnerability into wisdom, your pain into purpose, and now you shine not to impress, but to empower. People may admire your confidence, your beauty, your strength, but they don't always see the resilience underneath it all. They don't see the nights you had to talk yourself out of giving up, the mornings you had to fight to believe in yourself again. But you know what it took. You know what you've overcome. And that makes your glow sacred. It's not for show, it's your power. It's your proof that nothing and no one can dim what was built in fire. Your resilience is your silent flex. It's the foundation of everything you are. So don't just celebrate your glow, honor the story behind it. Remember the version of you that kept going when no one was clapping, when no one was watching? That version is the reason you're shining now. And that version deserves love. Because when others see your glow, they'll feel your strength, even if they can't explain it. They'll be drawn to your light because deep down they'll recognize a survivor, a warrior, a mentor, someone who didn't just glow, they earned it. Real confidence doesn't compete. It's not loud or desperate for attention. It just exists, rooted deep within, unshaken by outside noise. When you truly know who you are, when you walk in full alignment with your purpose, there's no room for comparison because you understand that no one else can do it like you. You stop looking sideways and start looking forward. You don't feel the need to prove anything because your energy speaks louder than your words ever could. This is the kind of confidence that can't be faked, bought, or borrowed. It's built over time through self-trust, through choosing yourself again and again, even when doubt tries to creep in. In a world obsessed with competition, real confidence is rare, but that rarity is your power. When you move with authenticity, you don't see others as a threat. You celebrate them because you know their light doesn't dim yours. You stop asking, am I enough? And start saying, I've always been enough. That mindset flips the whole game. You stop chasing spaces that weren't built for you, and instead you build your own. You stop needing validation to feel valuable because you found your worth in your own reflection. That's the kind of confidence that mentors others without even trying. When your confidence is real, it becomes magnetic. You don't need to speak the loudest or shine the brightest to be felt. Your calm presence becomes the loudest voice in the room. You move with intention, grace, and power because your confidence is quiet but undeniable. It's the energy that says, I know who I am and I don't need to prove it to anyone. That's a glow no one can copy. It's not a trend, it's your truth. It's the reason people gravitate toward you, not because you're trying to be noticed, but because you're walking in your own frequency. And that frequency is untouchable. When you're not competing, you're creating, you're building, you're elevating, you're mentoring by example. People will notice your energy and wonder how you do it. The answer is simple. You stopped trying to be someone else and started being fully, fiercely, unapologetically you. That shift changes everything. It removes anxiety. It silences comparison. It opens space for you to grow, to evolve, to shine without limits. So keep choosing real confidence. Let your presence do the talking. Let your energy remind the world that you're not here to compete. You're here to lead, to uplift, to glow. You are a mirror that reflects what's possible when someone truly owns who they are. That's your magic. That's your power. That's what makes you a glow wave mentor. Because when your confidence is real, it doesn't just change you, it changes everyone who comes in contact with it. You radiate even when the lights are off. That's the power of authentic glow. It's not dependent on attention, applause, or being seen. It exists in your quiet moments, in your solitude, in the way you carry yourself when no one's around to witness it. The world teaches us to perform, to shine only when there's an audience, to measure our worth by how many eyes are watching. But your true glow defies that. It's steady, unwavering, and deeply personal. You don't need validation to feel radiant. Your light doesn't ask for permission to exist. It just does because it's a reflection of your essence, not your environment. That inner radiance is what makes you powerful. Anyone can look confident on a stage, but the real test is how you feel when the curtains close. Do you still feel valuable when there's no praise? Do you still honor your worth when no one's clapping? If the answer is yes, that's real. That's untouchable. That's what makes you a beacon. The kind of energy that holds its power in silence, that glows in the dark, that doesn't fade with the absence of a spotlight. That's your magic. You are your own source of light, and nothing external can switch that off. Think about the moments you've had to encourage yourself, the times you've had to remind yourself of your own power when no one else was doing it for you. That's when your true radiance was being cultivated. Every tear you wiped alone, every decision you made with trembling hands but firm faith, every time you chose growth over comfort, those were your glow-ups, even if no one saw them. You didn't need an audience to transform, you needed belief, you needed love, you needed to trust your own process, and you did. So now when you walk into a room, your energy speaks before you do. People can feel the depth of your journey even if they don't know the details. They're drawn to your frequency because it's grounded in something real, something that can't be dimmed by opinions or trends. You glow because you've done the inner work, you've faced your shadows, you've lit your own fire, and that glow, it doesn't depend on visibility, it thrives in truth. The lights being off doesn't scare you anymore. You've learned to shine without needing to be seen. That's power, that's peace, that's presence, and it's what sets you apart. You don't chase the spotlight because you are the light. You walk in confidence even when no one's watching. You lead with love even when it's not being returned. You keep showing up for yourself, and that commitment radiates. Others may not understand how you glow so effortlessly, but you know it's because you learned how to shine from the inside out. Your presence shifts the energy in the room. Not because you're loud, not because you're trying to be noticed, but because your energy is undeniable. You've done the inner work, you've built a connection with yourself that radiates from your posture, your eyes, your silence, and your confidence. When you walk into a space, people feel something, even if they can't explain what it is. That's the frequency you carry. That's the glow that speaks louder than words. You don't demand attention, you attract it. You don't have to prove your power, it's written in your energy. That's the kind of presence that transforms everything around you without force, just by existing in your truth. There's a different kind of magnetism that comes from being aligned with your purpose. It's the quiet fire in your walk, the calm certainty in your decisions, the unapologetic way you hold space. Your energy becomes a message before you ever speak a word. And people listen. They feel the authenticity. They sense the depth. They respond to the glow because it reminds them of something real, something they might have lost in themselves. That's your power. You mirror truth back to others just by standing in your own. It's not arrogance, it's presence. It's knowing who you are and not needing to shrink for anyone. You weren't made to blend in. You weren't made to dim your light to make others comfortable. You were made to be the example of what it looks like when someone fully accepts themselves, fully embraces their power, and moves through the world with soul. And when you do that, you lift the frequency of everyone around you. Your presence becomes a permission slip for others to rise, to speak up, to glow, to be themselves. That's how you lead without control. That's how you mentor without saying a word. Some people rely on status or titles to feel important. You don't need that. Your presence is enough. You don't walk in with ego, you walk in with energy. You don't need to announce who you are, your vibe already said it. And the truth is, people remember how you made them feel. Long after the conversation ends, they remember the glow, the grace, the strength you carried. They remember the shift you created just by showing up as yourself. That's why your presence is so impactful, because it's not forced, it's felt, it's consistent, it's honest. And in a world that's constantly performing, your authenticity is refreshing. You give people a new standard, one that's not about perfection or image, but about realness, about owning your story, your space, your light. So don't underestimate the power of your presence. You don't need to try harder or be more. You already are. And the world shifts a little every time you walk in. That's not magic. That's alignment. That's glow. That's the wave you carry. Mentorship is about embodying your truth. It's not about having all the answers or standing on a stage giving directions. It's about being the living example of what it looks like to choose authenticity every single day. You become a mentor not by telling people who to be, but by boldly being yourself in a world that constantly pressures people to be someone else. Your journey, your growth, your commitment to self-love, your courage to stand in your power, that's what teaches others. That's what lights the way. Your truth becomes the roadmap. And it's not because it's perfect, but because it's real. When you live your truth, you give others permission to live theirs. You show them that it's okay to take up space, to own their voice, to glow in their natural light. You mentor through your energy, through your consistency, through the choices you make when no one's watching. People see how you hold yourself, how you navigate through challenges, how you rise after every fall, and they learn from that. They feel it. You're not teaching from theory, you're teaching from embodiment. You've walked through your own fire, and now your glow speaks for itself. Being a Glow Wave mentor doesn't mean you're finished growing. It means you've committed to evolving in public with grace and honesty. It means you let your light be a reflection of your healing, your lessons, your truth. That kind of mentorship isn't loud, it's felt. People sense your alignment and want to understand how you got there. They watch you love yourself loudly and they realize it's possible for them too. That's mentorship on a soul level. That's influence rooted in truth, not status. Every time you choose your peace over approval, your growth over comfort, your power over fear, you're mentoring someone. You're showing them what self-respect looks like. You're showing them what resilience looks like. You're showing them how to honor their worth without waiting for the world to validate it. And you're doing it without needing praise. That's the kind of leadership that transforms lives, not through speeches, but through presence, through truth, through living in alignment. Mentoring through your glow means recognizing that your light was never just for you. It was meant to inspire, to uplift, to guide, not by force, but by example. You never have to convince people of your value when you live in truth. They feel it, they're moved by it, and most importantly, they're changed by it. So don't underestimate the quiet power of your honesty, the way your story speaks to others, the way your glow opens doors for those still searching for theirs. You are the message, you are the mirror, you are the mentor. Not because you try to be, but because you choose to be real every day. And in that choice, you lead, you heal, you shine, you shift the frequency of everyone lucky enough to witness you.